Welcome to the Slice Podcast, episode 16, where I give you a slice of my mind. I'm your host, Christopher Martinez, and it's been a long time since I've done one of these. It's actually been a long time since I last made a video. It's just, work's been keeping me busy a lot. On the weekends, I just like to sleep and watch football on Sundays. And then we had our winter vacation. Let me catch you up to speed with my life before I get into the subjects that I want to really dive into. I have a little notepad here. So catching up, let's see. I got into a car crash. Not so much a crash, more so a collision, if you will. It was it was something that kind of shook me for a day or two. And I was driving home from work. We were filming at a location that was about an hour away from where I live. And we were shooting in the day going into early morning. And I told everyone I'm perfectly fine because I did feel perfectly fine to drive home. Everyone was like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yep, perfectly fine." I felt really good until about 6 minutes until I was at my place. I fell asleep for 1 second, to which when I woke up, I saw myself veering into the furthest left lane on the freeway. And I was able to pull the wheel all the way to the side before total damage was done, before me or the other person could have died. And the other person's safe. I'm safe. And the horn honking really kind of did it for me too, waking up, sort of. But yeah. So that was at about 4 a.m. or something. And really the most damage that was done was that I lost my left side view mirror, my driver's side view mirror. And I don't care about the rest of my car, just a couple of dents here and there. And yeah, the driver was just like, "Dude, what the hell? I could have died. You could have died. I have family. I'm pretty sure you have family. Be more careful, yada, yada." So I didn't go into work that day. I told everyone, like, I can't go, and I'm too shook up, So I got my side view mirror fixed that day. I got a new one at least. And then I went to work the day after. I told everyone, "Yo, please be careful. I don't want to work another day if I can't see you guys, if I can't work with you guys, because who knows, I couldn't have even been there." I told everyone, like, please, if you need to stay somewhere for the night. Don't risk it. And even before that, a couple of days before that, people were telling us, I was, fell asleep right before I got to my home. And yeah, it's kind of fucked that that happened, at least. But no one's dead. I'm not dead. The other guy's not dead. No injuries were done to either of us. It's just that I was shook up for a while, and I can laugh at it now. And because of that, the way my job works, because I don't know, whoever doesn't know, I'm a health and safety monitor on a television show, 911 Lone Star. And just for the record, I did get a hotel the day after, and I was fully compensated for it by my production, because they do that. I think that's a thing that all productions do. I think that's wonderful. But anyways, my job is that me and other people make sure people wear their masks. If they're close to each other, they have to wear safety goggles. We have to sanitize high surface touch areas, and among a bunch of other things, make sure people aren't too close in line when they take COVID tests. If you go up to an actor, you have to wear safety goggles along with your mask. If you have glasses, we give you little rubber sides to put on your glasses to act as the sides. And I can't complain. It's simple, but it's just it's a long time. It's because we film for so long. We're at work for so long, and me and my crew, we show up a little earlier than other people do, and after my collision, we decided to split our unit in half. Half of us would go in at when we usually go in, and the other half would go in when everyone else goes in. So I think that's really cool. But definitely, I joked, and I told everyone, sorry for ruining overtime for you guys. It's whatever. But I then even joked, I wonder if I had died if we would have gotten separated by days instead of by a couple hours, because I do think that you know I can laugh at that situation a little just so I can ease myself up a little. Usually I'd have like a beer or something right now, but I'm just drinking water because let's see, I went drinking out. Oh, so let me scratch that off. So I went back home for the holidays. We had a vacation from filming on the show, and so I decided to go back home, back in Stockton. I live in Compton, so I went back in Stockton. And over the course of the vacation, it was Christmas, it was New Year's, hung out with family, and the first thing we did was we went to Reno. It was me, my dad, and my mom, because my dad likes to take my mom for her birthday every year, or if he can't, every year. Usually they go every year. And this is the first time I was able to go and actually do stuff like gamble and drink. And it was cool because, I don't drink a lot with my dad. If we do, it's just a little bit, or if it's like a special occasion like Christmas or whatever. Not this Christmas, but a couple Christmases ago we did. But, he's like, I don't like you drinking because you're too goofy, and it's like, sorry, that's just me. But when I was in Reno, my parents stayed at the Pepper Mill, and their room is bigger than my house. I think their bathroom is bigger than my house, which is a 2-car garage converted into a little apartment, which is awesome. I think it's awesome. You can see some of it in the videos the one skit that I made. You can see somewhat of the house, and I love this place. But they're because they go to the Pepper Mill a lot, so they probably get like a bunch of rewards and stuff. Their room was ginormous. Their room was bigger than my house, and their bathroom was huge and was awesome. But anyways, they stayed there. I stayed at the El Dorado, which was cool. But we did most of our gambling at the Pepper Mill, so I was able to gamble for the first time in my life, and it was cool. My dad showed me how to play craps. He showed me how to bet properly. We did roulette, and roulette was awesome. And it's funny because all that stuff is chance, basically. It's chance, It's not on a machine or a slot machine or whatever. It's all chance. And what's funny is that the first thing we did in terms of gambling was we played at these slot machines at the El Dorado when my parents dropped me off at that place. And my dad won a shit ton of money on the slot machines. And he never does that. And I said, well, you know what, Dad? I don't think that's chance. It's a computer, The odds are calculated and then altered with, most likely. So that's most likely why he won a bunch of money. So they're betting on him going back, spending that money again, probably losing it all. Because what I was doing was I was setting limits for myself. Like, okay, I won't go down this number. If I go down that number, I'm done. Depending on how much I put in and how much I'm betting each time. So I ended up breaking even the first night doing that. And we went to this awesome restaurant at Peppermill. It was amazing. We ordered a bunch of sides, and my dad and I got these tomahawk steaks. They were fucking delicious. One of the best things I've ever had in my life. And my dad, he wanted these scallops. So when he ordered the scallops, the waitress told him, I want to let you know that it's actually scallop. Look at the menu. It's, just so you're not misled. He goes, oh my God. He goes, you know what? Let's try it out. He took a bite of it and he says, you know what? So there are some people on this planet that can never, witness this taste and experience it. I feel so bad for them because he told me it was fucking delicious. I ordered these, or I ordered oysters Rockefeller. My mom got these, like mushroom stuffed, or these lobster stuffed mushrooms or something. Those are fucking delicious too. And they just had this bread with black salt. Or it was black salt on butter. and you were able to, they gave you bread and shit. It was fucking delicious. Oh my god, one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. Or I ordered some drink. My dad got some wine. Me and my mom got these cocktails. I can't remember what they were. Something, I think I got something mule or something. I don't know. Whatever it was fucking delicious. And I told my dad, let's take a nap for a little bit and then we go down and gamble. So we ate it around like 9:30. We didn't get back till like 11 or so. And then what happened was I woke up when it was 6 o'clock. I'm like, what the hell? I'm going back to my place. So I Ubered over to the El Dorado where I was staying at. And then I played, I did some, was it blackjack? What's the one where you have to reach 21? I think it's called blackjack. I just want to be sure. Yeah, blackjack. So I did some blackjack for a little bit. And I made some money and then I lost it all. But the betting was like 25 a hand. I was like, what the hell? It's 10 over at the Peppermill. I was like, yeah, might as well. So I ended up winning 50 and then losing all of it after betting in like 100 or 140 or something. So I was like, oh, whatever. So later on, what was this day? I think this was the day that the Raiders played the Browns. Let me actually be sure of that. Because this is when the NFL was so messed up with the COVID stuff. So many games had to be moved around and stuff. So the 20th of December, let's see. Yeah, it was a Monday. When did I have that dinner? Let me figure that out. When I had that awesome dinner. Yeah. We went there on Sunday, December 19th. That's when we got in Reno. The 20th was the day after, and that's when I kind of hung around the Peppermill all day because my parents went to go do some Christmas shopping. I was like, I'll wait for you guys to come back. Let me do some gambling and let me, get some drinks and watch the Raider game because, it's Reno. There's a lot of betting on sports and stuff. So there's this gigantic, huge screen of, sports stuff going on. So there's this gigantic screen showing the Raiders and Browns game. Now, this is when the Raiders were still in a little rut. This is when they started their 4-game winning streak to get back into the playoffs. And it was fucking awesome to watch Raider games with everyone else who was a Raider fan there, And so I drank a lot that day. I can remember almost everything I drank that day. It's funny. In the morning, when I got back to the El Dorado, I had like a Coors. When I went to the Peppermill, I had I had a shot of Jack and then a tequila sunrise. And when I explained what exactly I was drinking, my dad's like, "Wow, why are you so fruity?" It's funny because I was like, I like fruity drinks and stuff. I like sugary drinks sometimes, but my dad's more like a man when it comes to drinking, like whiskey and scotch and beers, an occasional wine if you're having a nice meal. But it's mainly with him like whiskey and beer. And love that man. So we drank a lot that whole day. Anyways, then I had my first Bloody Mary. It was pretty good. Margaritas, then Coronas, Jacks on ice, like a bunch of Jack on ice. Then I had a strawberry grenadine and strawberry daiquiri, and it was awesome. We had that playing craps, and we had that playing roulette. My dad showed me craps, and he was betting really smart. I was betting safe, only doing on the come bets, not the come bets, but your initial bet to play, and occasionally on a come bet on craps, and he won a lot of money. I won a little bit. He gave me some money to play with, so I gave him what I kept the winnings, and I gave him the initial cut of what he gave me. To which I lost all of that going back down to play again. But we were there for a pretty long time, and we were also playing roulette for a long time. And that roulette's cool. Roulette's also another chance thing. The has the circle and the different colors, black and red, and the numbers, and there's 0 and 00, which you can land on. And, it's fun. It was really cool, enjoyable, and I had a great time. Drank a lot, ate some good food. I think the funniest thing that actually happened was after drinking so much and playing roulette for so long, my dad and I wanted to go find more drinks. So we went at one of those they have like the little circular bars, lounges, where you just sit down and you can play these little machines and you can drink. So we did that for a little bit. We're like, okay, sure, let's go. We wanted a burger. We went up to their room. We wanted to get room service. They were like, oh, it's gonna take an hour and a half. We're like, screw it, let's go down to the cafe. We went down to this cafe, and it was one that we had already went to earlier. I went there by myself, and then my parents went there when they came back from shopping. I had this nice salmon melt. It was actually pretty good. I had salmon, avocado, and I had some potato salad with it. It was really good. But then it was it was 2 o'clock in the morning when we went down there to order food at this cafe that thank God was still open, because I don't know what I would have done. We were just drunk and we wanted to eat. I wasn't super wasted. My dad kind of leaning towards it because he wanted fried chicken. He wanted like chicken thighs, but they didn't have just chicken thighs. You have to order a dinner. He's like, oh, screw it, I'll get the dinner. You have clam chowder? Yeah, let me do some clam chowder too. I got this cheese. I got this burger that was cooked like a chicken fried steak with gravy and cheese and bacon, and oh, it was fucking delicious. My mom, I forgot what my mom. She got this like au jus, it's like sandwich you can dip in au jus. Can't remember what it was specifically, but really nice meal at 2:30 in the morning, and then we checked out the next day after. I felt perfectly fine despite how much I drank. I think it was because I was actually doing stuff and walking around and focused on something rather than just drinking, even though I did drink pretty quick. Okay, Reno, what's going on? Talking about going home for the holidays and talked about that. Hunting. Let's talk about some hunting. So, I'm a hunter. I love to hunt. Even if I don't get anything, I love the experience of going out there and waking up early in the morning, driving out to wherever it is you're going, setting your stuff up in your blind and waiting till you either hear the sirens or the first shots. And then it's game on, It wasn't like that for a while. My dad and I went hunting. I can't remember what day it was before Christmas. And he got two. I didn't get anything. Because it's been so long since I've been, and I'm not as good of a shot as I was like almost a decade ago. Because I used to be really good at shooting. Like I would rarely miss. I think there's lots of pictures of me on my dad's Instagram with a bunch of birds that we shot. But yeah, as in my teens, 14 onwards, I rarely missed. Not to brag or anything. That's just how it was, and then going hunting with my dad was just really, really fun. We went on Christmas, and it was at first I was just thinking I don't want to do anything on Christmas. I just want to sit down and I just want to, relax with the family. But I was like, you know what? Let's go Christmas hunting. My dad was talking about it. He's like, oh, high winds. It was raining. Like, fuck it, let's go. So we went like really unprepared because it was raining a lot. We went for some hours. He got like 5 and I got 2. I would have got 3, but his dog lost one of them because it wasn't wounded enough. And by the time I got out of the blind, it's like a hole in the ground, like cemented in or something. But by the time I got out and ran over it, he lost the bird. I was like, God damn it. It was a really nice, what was it? A teal wing or something. I don't know. But, I love hunting. I love shooting. God put these animals on the earth for us. I don't know. It's just there's a part that it's so like you're connected with the planet for a moment. You're just there. I love it. You're not around technology. You're not around city stuff. You're not around other assholes that you hate. It's just you and whoever you go with, and you're just there. You hear the wind. You can hear the birds. That adrenaline that rushes through you when you see a bird fly your way. You jump up. You shoot, hit the bird, send your dog out, you get it, you do your high fives, screaming your fuck yes, nice shots and stuff. I had some pretty nice shots over this course. We went hunting about 3 times or so. And I think I got about maybe 5 in total. My dad probably got a little more than 10 over the course of these trips. He ended up going with my brother at one point and with a friend of his later on. Then I ended up cooking some of the duck. I just do the breasts, because the legs are too small to cook or something unless you want to do the whole bird. So I just do the breasts. They're really easy, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and then you oil and butter and you fry it for just minute each side. Really, you can maybe just go a little longer because you don't want to dry them out. They're so small. They're really tiny unless you get a really big bird, but they're so tiny that you can just sear them, and then you can throw them in the oven, or you can broil them for just a little bit longer. And they're delicious. And then Christmas and New Year's happened. It's nice to be with the family. I live for that shit. But funny. Christmas. You open your presents. Grandpa came over and hung out with us for a little bit. Gave us our presents, $100. And went hunting on Christmas. And usually for Christmas, when the whole family's there, we do waffles in the morning. But we decided, we have all these tamales, let's just eat those. So we did. And then we did chicken and waffles for dinner. So it was nice to come back from hunting and have nice waffles and fried chicken. I've never had chicken and waffles before like that. It's a good combination if you ask me. I really enjoyed it, and it was cool to be back home with the family because my sister, who lives in Wisconsin, ended up coming home for 2 weeks. It was really cool to see her again. I missed her a lot, and I went up for Thanksgiving. I went up to Stockton for Thanksgiving, but she couldn't because she couldn't take off those couple of days. So it was really nice to get her back and have the whole family at the house again, laughing, loving, eating, just enjoying each other's company like we did before. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed all their company again. And it's weird because I don't know when that's going to ever happen again, all of us back together, because it's just my mom, my dad. My brother's in Sacramento, but he's in Sacramento for school, but he came down for the break and he's going to go back. So it's just my mom, my dad, and my 2 little sisters at the house now. So it's just when are they going to, when they're going to leave. I don't know if I'm going to come back because, I'm in Los Angeles now pursuing my career. Hoping to pursue my career. Got to get through this season. Hopefully I can get on another show to do something else that isn't COVID related, because it's cool. I can see everything happen. I have the time to walk around because my job is to walk around and make sure things are following the COVID protocols, and I can walk around and ask all the questions I can. It's really enlightening, but I want more. Everyone always wants more, but I want more because I love movies. I want to make a movie one day. I don't want to make a movie one day. I want to make movies. I want to make films. I want to touch people with my films in a not sexually harassing way. I'm not going to be an asshole. When I'm in Hollywood, I'll probably be an asshole in terms of how I want to get my movies done. But not to the crew or anyone, an asshole in terms of I'm not going to let people tell me what I can or cannot do. Yeah, so that's kind of all caught up to speed with what's been going on in my life. Back in Compton, waiting to go back to work. And when that happens, we're going to finish this season. Season 3 already aired, or the first 2 episodes at least. And I watched the first episode. My mom watches the show. Or she started watching it because I'm in it. Not I'm in it, but I'm a part of it. And she really enjoyed it. And watched the first episode, and it's really fun to see where all these scenes took place when we filmed them, because there's a day where we'll film episode 1, then there's a day where we'll film episode 2, and then a scene from episode 1, and back and forth and back and forth, and hey, we're filming 3 this day, and then we're filming 1 this day, and then we're going back to 2, so on and so forth. And how they break up which scenes they're going to film these days depending on which actors they have available. It's really cool, enlightening. Like, I remember I saw this scene and I went, I know for a fact we probably shot that one last. I remember which day that was. I know how they got away with shooting that specific scene to make it look like it took place there, even though it was in a completely different location, using a completely different technique. And it's cool to see all this stuff. It's cool to be a part of it. It's cool to watch everything and learn from it, because that's what I'm there for. All right, now let's move on to the next big subject I want to talk about, because this is a big one. This is a really big one, and I'm going to be talking about this for a while. The Raiders 2021-2022 season and our playoff hopes. Now, I'm a Raider fan. I'm pretty sure you guys know that. So I'm going to go over the entirety of our season and talk about everything that's happened, because a lot of shit happened. And the fact that the Raiders even made it to the playoffs is, it's incredible considering how much shit we went through. So, John Gruden is our head coach at the beginning of the year. There's doubts. Is he the right guy? He has a 10-year contract. What are you guys doing? You have all these players, injuries. Derek Carr's last year on his contract. And we start the season off with a Monday Night Football game. And I hate when they do that for the Raiders, because I just want to watch it on Sunday. But if they open us up on a Monday night, I fucking hate it, because I just want to get it over with. But I have to wait the next day. But it was whatever, because the Raiders won in overtime, 33-27, where Derek Carr throws a touchdown to Zay Jones to end out the game. Overtime. Beat the Ravens, start 1-0. Life is good. Then the next game is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Our home opener was the Ravens. Then we go to Pittsburgh. And Ben Roethlisberger doesn't have a lot of wins against the Raiders, I think. But that game, it wasn't close. But it was 26-17. Everyone did a great job. All that matters is that we won 2-0. It's great. Beat down on the Steelers. Then the next game was another overtime finisher against the Dolphins at home, winning with a field goal, 31-28. There was a pass interference call that people thought was kind of bullshit that gave the Raiders an edge. But, I didn't personally see that as a missed call or a... I can't remember specifically. I know it was a pass interference call. I don't remember if it was on the Dolphins or us. But that they, that people thought should have been a pass interference call or not. I can't remember. I just remember there being a controversial call or not call. But it was because the Dolphins didn't have Tua Tagovailoa in that game. He was injured. So they had Jacoby Brissett. And I always liked Jacoby Brissett, but the Raiders had beat him before. And I kid you not, it was the funniest shit I've ever seen, where they thought they could throw a screen pass on like their own 2-yard line, but they ended up getting a safety. It was fucking awesome. That's what won us the game, I think. That's what changed the momentum. Beat the Dolphins. I can brag to my family. Haha, we beat you guys. You guys fucking suck. And the Dolphins had their own shitstorm to deal with, starting the season off 1-7. 1-7? Yeah. And then they finished the season out winning 7 of the last 8. And, good for them. But they fired their head coach because they're fucking dumbasses. Brian Flores, I think, is a great coach. But there's like internal stuff going on there. So the Raiders are 3-0. Okay. Then we have another Monday Night Football game. Like, what the fuck? Come on. Can you not do this? But it was against the Chargers. Now, the Raiders are 3-0. First in the West. Whoa. This is cool, I was like, whoa, this is happening. We're having a great start. And then we get, beaten down by the Chargers 28-14. It was embarrassing to watch because there was a thing going on about how the Raiders are going to overtake that stadium, the SoFi Stadium, because like who the hell are Chargers fans? LA is where a bunch of Raider fans are. So they took over the stadium basically, and then they got embarrassed, and it wasn't a good effort. You know, yeah, we were only down by 2 scores, but still, it was embarrassing on both sides. Offense couldn't get it done. Defense couldn't stop Herbert. Herbert's a fucking great quarterback. He's fantastic. He's like a generational talent. I like him more than Patrick Mahomes. I like him more than Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady's better. I like him more than Patrick Mahomes, though. I think he's a really tough quarterback to deal with. And then shit starts to happen for the Raiders. Some emails leak out about John Gruden and how in 2018 and before he was, he had these racist emails where he had said that someone's lips were like big rubber tires. I don't remember who he was, but he was a person for, I think, the Washington football team, or the Redskins as they were before. And he called Roger Goodell an anti-football pussy or something. I thought that was fucking hysterical. And so these emails were leaked right when the Raiders were doing good. We're 3-1, okay. But then these emails were leaked. And John Gruden broke the news to the team before they played against the Bears, which was the extra 17th game of the season. So the Raiders couldn't get it done against the Bears. They lost 20-9 at home. It was embarrassing. Justin Fields looked good as the Bears' new quarterback, but it was sad. And I think that definitely affected the way the team played. And so and then more emails leaked out afterwards. And then he was forced to resign, so they wouldn't have to pay out all that extra money on his $100 million contract for 10 years. So, it was a financial liability, basically, if he didn't resign or something. I don't know. And, I'm not saying that I'm defending racism, but, if these emails were last found in 2018, and if what everyone says about John Gruden was true, about how he's such a great guy, and well, I don't know anything about how he was on ESPN. I don't know if there was a toxic work environment there or anything, but and like I said, I'm not trying to defend him being saying racist things, but if he hasn't done that for so long afterwards, if he did change, then I think he didn't deserve to get fired. But it had to be because it was a part of an investigation to the Washington football team and their, certain scandals they had, or, toxic work environments or whatever. But I did think that it was kind of bullshit that just happened to happen when the Raiders were doing good, people are like, it's a hit job, they don't want the Raiders to succeed. Whatever, but apparently these emails, they had them for months. It's like, why are they being leaked? And why is it happening then? They wanted, I guess they wanted to hold on to them until they could use it in a right way. That being to demean the Raiders. I don't know the whole story about the Raiders versus the NFL. I don't know the whole story about how Al Davis was a Maverick and tried to do things his own way for Raider Nation. I don't know the whole story, but apparently that's what he did, though, trying to defy the NFL. But not defy, but try to do things his own way. But it sucked, because John Gruden was onto something. I think he was aggressive with the offense, but there was something different about him. Because I know we weren't going to go to the Super Bowl in John Gruden's first year as a head coach, because he had a 10-year contract for a reason. He was building up to something, and I was excited to see what he would do because I was excited to see just exactly what he had planned because he was aggressive. He loves football. He doesn't like it. He loves football. So our special teams coordinator, I believe he was, Rich Bisaccia, then became our head coach, or the interim head coach. And in his first game as the interim head coach, they defeated the Broncos 34-24. It wasn't as close as the score seems to be, but it was the game the Raiders needed to win. That wasn't something in overtime or something close. So the Raiders advanced to 4-2. And Rich Bisaccia looked promising. Then, in what was Carr's statistically best game in terms of completion percentage, he defeated the Eagles at home 33-22 against Jalen Hurts. I believe Jalen Hurts played that game, who looks promising. So, Rich Bisaccia 2-0 as a head coach. The Raiders 5-2. And then what everyone sees as the biggest tragedy that happened to the Raiders all season. Henry Ruggs drunk driving, killing a woman and her dog, driving 156 miles per hour upon collision. And the woman in the car, she died. And there was no way she could have been saved from there. She died in the car, burnt alive. And when I was at work one day, we weren't doing anything. We were on a break. I went on Instagram and I saw a car crash on the Explore page. Oh wow, what's this? And I saw the words Henry Ruggs. I'm like, oh fuck, he died, didn't he? But it says he was in a car crash. And oh shit, what about the other person? And then it was revealed someone's dead. It was revealed he was driving while drunk. And Henry Ruggs was a star at this point. He was becoming a very special wide receiver with fantastic talent and unmatched speed. One of the fastest receivers in the league at the time. He was awesome. And so when it came out to be that he was driving drunk, at these levels you shouldn't even consider doing such a thing. You shouldn't consider driving drunk anyways, regardless, no matter how much you drank, but the level at which it was, the speed at which he was driving, I wasn't even thinking about whether or not he'd be making it back to play for the Raiders. I was thinking he has to pay for what he did, and he is going to jail, and that does suck, And then everyone was, people can hate him if they want, but there's some people who are like, when's he coming back? He's not. This was more so at the beginning. It's a fact now that he's not coming back. He's going to jail to face his consequence. And this did affect the team in so many ways because, he was a cool guy. Everyone loved him. But he did something stupid and he's going to pay the price for it. And it's tragic. A life is lost at the end of the day when you could have took an Uber or a Lyft or the NFLPA give you a ride home as they do so if you're too drunk. And it's so sad to think about every day. Not every day, not like, oh, boo-hoo Raiders, no, boo-hoo anything. It's, a life was lost, taken away when it didn't deserve to and didn't need to happen. And so that definitely affected the team. And, people were criticizing Carr for saying that, he said that, he needs love, and of course Ruggs didn't want that to happen. Of course, Ruggs didn't want someone to die, but nonetheless it happened. And, can't imagine what he's going through. And Derek Carr, being the strong guy that he is, wants to be there for everybody regardless. And he says, if no one will do it, I will. And I'm pretty sure they're keeping in touch. He's making sure Ruggs is okay, mentally at least. God knows what's going to happen. Who knows if he'll, take his own life, out of guilt, or if he'll just rot away in prison. Who knows? But it was a tragic story. You can't do anything about it now. And that definitely did affect the team. And this was a point where I said, I don't know if the Raiders are going to make the playoffs now, because this might affect the team for the rest of the season. And it's okay if they don't. Because, something tragic happened. It was awful. So the Raiders ended up losing to the fucking New York Giants, the worst team in the league right now. Not the Lions, not the Jags, the fucking Giants, I think, are the worst team in the league right now. They lost to fucking Daniel Jones. And, I said, they could lose, they could win. It doesn't matter. I knew nothing good. Everyone was off their game, So they fall to 5-3. And then we get slapped around silly by the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, 41-14. It was embarrassing. No one was on their game. It was sad. It was Sunday Night Football too. We were so hyped for it, and nothing came of it. Good. Nothing good came of it. It was embarrassing. It was a disaster. No one was on the game. No one could get it done. Coming out of halftime, the Raiders had this 3-play, 75-yard drive that was fucking awesome. But they couldn't replicate that. It was gone. It was done. Also, to note, the Raiders, they released Damon Arnett because he posted a video to some fans in an Instagram DM chat about how he's going to kill them, waving his gun around like, I kill you, because they're like trolling him or something stupid. I don't remember. So they cut that. They cut him. And then they hired Deshaun Jackson. Old as dirt Deshaun Jackson. His first touch as a Raider player was a deep bomb from Derek Carr. He catches it. This is the Chiefs game, by the way. This could have turned the momentum. He's running down the field. He turns around and then gets the ball knocked out of his hand. And then that's when the Raiders lost that game. It was the third quarter. We still had a chance, but it was done. So the Raiders are now 5-5. 5-5? 4. No, they're 5-4 at this point. Then to become 5-5, getting embarrassed by the Cincinnati Bengals, 32-13 at home. Now, this is going to be a rematch because the Raiders are going to be playing the Bengals in the wild card spot, 5th against 4th. I think the Bengals are 4th seed, but yeah, that's going to be a great game. I think both teams have become they have changed drastically since then. More so the Raiders. So now the Raiders are 5-5. And no one knows what's going to happen. It's sad. It's embarrassing, And then something spectacular happens. We don't have our bye yet. I don't know when we had our bye. But it's important to note that the Raiders, after the bye, they collapse. That's what was the narrative. Damn, when did the Raiders have their bye? Trying to figure it out. 24, the 7th. Looks like the Raiders had their bye after the Eagles game. After the Eagles game, before the Giants, Henry Ruggs situation in between. So, something spectacular happened. November 25th, Raiders at Cowboys, Thanksgiving night. Now, this was the most watched regular season NFL game in like decades. And it was one hell of a show. Everyone was complaining that there was ref ball and that the Raiders got bailed out by the refs. Bullshit. There was the same amount of penalties on each team. And at the end of the day, the Raiders were the better team. They came out hungry. They slapped around the Cowboys, but it came down to overtime where Daniel Carlson, with the ice in his veins, kicked a field goal to win the game. You know, it was awesome. I loved it. And you know, everyone's like, if the Raiders can be an explosive, dominant team like the Cowboys, you know, are they back in 6-5? No, we got demolished by the Chiefs. No, we got demolished. Not so demolished, but we lost to the Washington fucking football team with no name, 17-15 the week after. It was a sad day because everyone praises Washington for their awesome defense, and you know, they have a good defense at points, but you know, and I liked Taylor Heineke as the quarterback because he almost beat Tom Brady last year in the wild card. You know, if that had happened, it would have been the coolest thing to ever happen in the history of the NFL. You know, but it didn't. And then we lost to Taylor Heineke and the Washington fucking football team. You know, we were up 15-14, but they kicked that field goal to win. And it was one of those days where Derek Carr was struggling. You know, not making the right choices, you know, missing open receivers. Now, I'm a Carr lover. I love Carr. You know, I've believed in Derek Carr since his first snap against the New York Jets in 2014. You know, I love Derek Carr as a quarterback. I think he's the best thing that's happened to this organization, you know, since he came in. And he's been through it all. You know, he had stars like Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Khalil Mack. He had Charles Woodson. You know, Latavius Murray. He had an awesome O-line. Then his injury happened in 2016, and that fucked everything up. We made the playoffs because of him, and he didn't even get to play in the game because he got injured. I was at that game too, Christmas Eve against the Indianapolis Colts. You know, it sucked. But anyways, Raiders fall to 6-6. 6-7 after the embarrassing game against the Chiefs, in which before the game I knew they lost because everyone huddled up on the logo of the Chiefs and danced, not dance, but like more so jumping on it, you know, trying to hype themselves up. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, we lost. It's over. It's done." And what happens on the first play? Josh Jacobs gets the ball punched out of his hands, and they return it for a touchdown. That's when I knew we lost. All hope was lost. 6-7. And now, as I said before, the Raiders get on this 4-game winning streak when all hope seemed like it was lost to make it into the playoffs. Now, mathematically, there was always a chance the Raiders could make it in. But everyone doubted us because we're the Raiders and we suck. And we've been through so much shit in this season. So, this all started because they played the Browns, who were so COVID-ridden, on the 20th of December when I was in Reno. I watched that game. It was awesome. You know, and they were going to play Nick Mullins because Baker Mayfield was out. Case Keenum was out due to COVID stuff. And everyone was like, "Oh, Nick Mullins defeated the Raiders in 2018. Go do it." No, he didn't do it again. Raiders beat him. Derek Carr made the plays he needed to make. And, you know, it was an ugly win, but it was a win nonetheless. Then next week, we go to the Broncos the day after Christmas and beat them 17-13. So the Raiders move on to 8-7. 8-7, yeah, 8-7. And it's strange because, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, the Broncos have such a great defense," but you know, their defense wasn't even doing that great. We just made a lot of mistakes, and our offense wasn't getting it on for the most part. But we won at the end of the day. That's all that mattered, and we were still in the playoff contention. It was win out. That's all we had to do. We had to win out. Then next week came, at the time, the most struggling game of the season because it was against the Colts. The Colts were red hot with Jonathan Taylor. Carson Wentz had spots of brilliance. Frank Reich as their head coach, everyone loved him. But at the end of the day, the Raiders won. They did what everyone said they couldn't do. They beat the Indianapolis Colts. It was awesome. I loved it. But what sucked was that I dreaded watching it because the night before I got super hammered. I went out drinking with my cousins, and my sister went out to Lodi to this bar, and this was the first time I blacked out drinking because what happened was we got there. I had some drink. My cousin had this thing called like a Superman. It tasted pretty good. Then I got a vodka cranberry, and then he got me like this Crown Royale apple mixed with like some cranberry something. And then I opened up my own tab because I don't want him to spend so much on me drinking whatever. To which I ordered an appletini because I've always wanted to try an appletini because of Alan from Two and a Half Men, always ordering appletinis. And then I forget what I ordered next. Oh, my sister got this thing called a Puerto Rican hooker, which is like, I don't know what kind of tequila it was or whatever, and then you chase it with pickle juice. Had that. So after my appletini, what did I have? I think I had Coke and rum. No, Jack and Coke, to which my dad was probably severely disappointed in me. But then, I know this is a stupid side note talking about the Raiders, but I have to talk about this in context to me watching the Colts game in misery. So after that's when I blacked out because the last thing I remember was ordering water because I wanted to drink water to kind of mellow out. To which then I remember throwing up before getting into a car. For some reason, I was talking about Red vs. Blue, this online show that uses Halo as, it's a machinima called, or machine cinema, where they use the in-game engine of Halo to make, whatever they want. So I was talking about that for some reason, and artificial intelligence. I know I'm kind of an idiot. I'm a weirdo. And then I remember throwing up before getting into a car. Someone put a curly fry in my mouth because they wanted me to eat one. Then I got into bed at home, told my cousin thank you so much for, driving and making sure I made it home safe. And then I woke up with my pants off. I don't remember taking my pants off ever. And then I threw up all day and it was a weird color because of all the drinks that I had. So I was kind of bumming around all day. And I was supposed to go to my grandpa's in the morning, but I was like, I called him like, I can't go, Grandpa. I can't watch the game with you. I'm super hungover. I can barely even get out of my bed. So I put the game on my laptop and sat on my bed and I just watched it from there. And it was we won 23-20. And a lot of it was Carson Wentz shitting the bed a little. But the Raiders did what people thought we couldn't do: beat the Colts and still be in the playoff race. We were in the playoffs. We were in the wild card for, I don't know, a couple of hours before the Dolphins beat the Saints on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football. I don't know. But then they end up losing, and then they end up losing, and then way other teams beat out other teams, they end up losing that playoff spot. And then came the biggest game of the Raiders season, the biggest game of Derek Carr's career. Because this game had so many playoff implications for it, they moved the Raiders-Chargers game to Sunday Night Football. And let me tell you, what the fuck was that? That was the most batshit insane game I've seen. It was like the Ravens-Raiders game, but on crystal meth and cocaine. It was fucked. The Raiders leading 10-0. And then, it seemed like the Raiders were going to win. It was fourth quarter. The Raiders were up by 2 scores. But then they started playing too soft. Then Justin Herbert just slinging the shit out of the ball. Derek Carr loses the ball at one point, but the Raiders end up picking it up to punt it away afterwards. And so Justin Herbert leaves this long-ass fucking drive with multiple fourth downs that he converts. Their offense is tired out. Our defense was stopping them so many times before. Phylon was a pickup that we had who injured himself. He did a great job, but he's going to miss the playoffs, sadly. Fantastic work, Phylon. You did a great job. Phylon, whatever his last name was. And then on the last second of the game, on this insane drive, they tie it up. We're heading to overtime. 32-30. No, it was 20. What the fuck was it? 29-29? Yeah, 29-29. Heading into overtime. Raiders receive the ball. They can't get it done. They get a field goal. And then when it seems like Raiders have it in the bag, they end up converting these long ass plays, the Chargers. But the Chargers start making these long ass conversions, long ass plays, and it seems like all hope is lost. Now, this game had so many playoff implications in it because that entire Sunday was wild. The Raiders could have made it into the playoffs if the Jags beat the Colts and the Ravens beat the Steelers. The Jags did beat the Colts because the Colts are a dumpster fire. And what was funny is that the Jags fans went to that game wearing clown costumes, to make fun of their ownership. And they ended up beating the Colts. The Colts haven't beat Jacksonville for like half a decade or something. That was fucking hysterical. I laughed my ass off. They got demolished by the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of the worst teams in the league right now. And so I was hoping that the Ravens would beat the Steelers, but they couldn't. Steelers ended up winning overtime with a field goal. And good for him, Ben Roethlisberger, But the Steelers can only make it to the playoffs if the Raiders and Chargers do not tie. So, Chargers kick a field goal, tied up 32-32. Raiders get the ball back. They're marching down the field. Josh Jacobs being the beast that he is, Also, I want to mention this. It was a 3rd and 23 or something, 3rd and 21, and earlier in the game, Derek Carr hands it off to Jalen Richard down the middle. They're playing soft. Defense is playing soft, but he ends up converting it. It was like, what the fuck was that? It had to be the coolest thing to happen all night. That 23-yard run that no one thought we would have converted. It was just, okay, fuck it. Just give us better field position for punting. What the fuck? I've always liked Jalen Richard. He's really small, but he's really fast and strong. And, he can weave his way around stuff. So, Josh Jacobs running the ball. It's 3rd and 4. We're close to field goal range. Time is winding down. And then the Chargers call timeout. And Brandon Staley, I think his name is Brandon Staley, the head coach for the Chargers, justified this by saying that they were going to switch their defense out. So because they were going to run the ball. And the Raiders did look like they were going to run the ball. 4 seconds on the play clock, they were going to run the ball. About 30 or so seconds left in the game. But they ended up converting the first down anyways, getting about 10 yards on that play. And so all hope was lost from there. Then there was talks saying that we were hoping to stop them. We wanted them to punt. And then, hopefully we can just end this game in a tie. Because if the Chargers and Raiders tied, they both would have made the playoffs. But Raiders kept running the ball. You could see Justin Herbert on the sideline going, I never wanted a tie so bad. And, wow. It was great. Clock's winding down. They call a timeout. Raiders kick the field goal, win the game in overtime, and head to the playoffs for the first time since 2016 with Derek Carr. Derek Carr led this team to the playoffs. He marched his team every week, regardless if it was his best performance or not. He rallied his men together, and they pushed with these last 4 games. It all started with the Cowboys win, I think. Because he was saying, they're trying to write our future, We're not done yet. So from the Cowboys game, losing after that, and then that 4-game winning streak to get us to the playoffs, You know, I'm excited for the playoffs. I think the Raiders can beat the Bengals in the playoffs, and whoever we play afterwards, we can beat them. I honestly believe it. Raiders going to the Super Bowl? I don't know. We'll have to see, because the Titans are the most boring first seed I've seen. You know, they from what I've seen, they weren't super explosive. They just got the job done, and that's all it can take. You don't need to be super explosive, but it still was kind of like, really, the Titans out of all teams, first seed. Whatever. But this Saturday, the first game of Super Wildcard Weekend, because now there's a 7th seed in the playoffs. They started this last year. There's a 7th seed in the playoffs, and the Raiders didn't make it in by, being the 7th seed. They made it in as 5th seed. So, way to face adversity after all the shit they had to deal with all season. People, writing their future off. I really want Rich Bisaccia to get head coach of the year. Hold on, I need to sneeze. I'm not. I really want Rich Bisaccia to get coach of the year because, rallying this team up to push the playoffs after everyone was writing them off, that's awesome, He did a great job. His play calling got better over the course of his, he did it, He led this team. Derek Carr led the team. Josh Jacobs, Max Crosby, Darren Waller came back for the last game of the season. We had Deshaun Jackson. Hunter Renfrow was fantastic. Our defense was great. We lost Alec Ingold and Kenyon Drake earlier on in the season, and that was really sad to see. But, the Raiders are back. We're not done. I'm excited for this Saturday when we play the Bengals. And, the NFL does that weekly preview thing, like, hey, who's going to win this game this season? Like, all 10 of the people that they had ranked these teams, 8 of them was going for the Bengals. Like, fuck you guys. Over these last 4 weeks, you thought that the Raiders were going to lose all these games. Fuck you guys. It's even in that Chargers game. Fuck them. Raiders are going to fucking win this weekend. And if they don't, I'm going to be very sad. But whatever. They got to the playoffs. Derek Carr's going to play his first playoff game, and I think he's going to do great. Now, I spent a while talking about that. Now, next subject. We're going to talk about the last movies I saw for the year 2021. Although I did see 2 of these movies after 2021, but these are just, the most recent 2021 films I've seen. Now, movie review time. Let's talk about Eternals, directed by Chloe Zhao. Chloe Zhao. Zhao or Zhao? Chloe Zhao. Anyways, this takes place after Endgame, of course. It's weird to note that all these take place after Endgame, but it means so much to some of these movies. So, post Endgame, we get a lot of flashbacks to when these beings called the Eternals came to Earth. Because, let me spoil this movie for a little bit. I mean, I've made tweets about it before, about how I liked the movie, but now more I look back on it, I think this movie is bad in so many ways. There's a couple scenes in it that I really liked, that I thought were really powerful. But let me discuss this movie just for a little bit, because there are other movies I want to talk about, much better movies. This is one of my least favorite movies of the year, Eternals. It was boring. All the characters, they seemed like they didn't have an arc. They ended the film the same way they began the film, except for Icarus, whose character arc was, oh no, I was kind of wrong the whole time. Let me go fly into the sun and kill myself. So the thing about Eternals is that there are these machine things that got sent to Earth because they have to kill these things called deviants, which are these stupid looking monsters. And they try to kill everything they can, really. And the reason they have to kill the deviants is because the deviants were created by these big celestial beings called the Celestials. like Arisham or something was the big red one. He was like, "Yo, I made you guys to kill the deviants because the deviants got out of control. Try to kill all the people on the planet because we need smart things to be alive on a planet so that it can give enough life energy force so that these celestials can be born from these planets." So they're like, "Oh shit, that's not good. We have to stop it." And so they stop it, but um, along the way, it's just really boring. I didn't care for a lot of the characters. I didn't care for the action scenes. You know, usually when you watch an action scene in a movie and you want to watch it the day after on YouTube, I did not feel that way about this movie. Hell, I don't even want to watch this movie again. It was boring. It was like it was well over 2.5 hours. It was really slow. And there was a lot of flashbacks. And I didn't care for any of the characters, really. Probably the only character, there's a couple characters I cared about, actually. The one that can cook, I forgot his name. His power was like he can punch things really hard. I didn't care about Angelina Jolie's character. There's this character who like was a Bollywood star. I thought he was kind of funny. I forgot the other character's name, but his actor I like. He was in The Green Knight earlier in the year. What the fuck's his name? Barry Keoghan. He played this character called Druid. I thought he was cool. He had cool powers, but that's probably it. I don't give a shit about any of the other characters. There's this thing about this deviant that can like, cause like they're like, oh my, it's like so. Okay, the thing that they stayed on Earth after killing all the deviants because they had to wait for the big red celestial to tell them what to do next or whatever. When they were just basically waiting for when they were just basically waiting to fucking be killed by the celestial being born that none of them were gonna know about because Salma Hayek wasn't gonna tell them, who was the lead Eternal. So it's stupid because fucking Salma Hayek figures out that these she found these other deviants, right? And or like I don't know if it was her or Icarus who found these deviants, but then she goes, "I'm gonna tell the rest of the Eternals that the plan is to get everyone killed. You know, because the Celestials are gonna be born and everyone on the planet's gonna die." So he kills Salma Hayek's character and then decides to let these deviants roam free, which then causes the other Eternals to freak out because, oh my god, there's deviants again. We got to get everyone back together to kill deviants. So let's go find Salma Hayek, and then they find out that she's dead. And the funny thing about it is that when they find her dead early on in the movie, you're supposed to feel sad and you want to cry like the rest of the characters. Or that's what they want you to think, because I didn't feel a goddamn thing. Like, I don't even know who this character is, really. And I'm supposed to feel sad about it? Oh, a dead body. Fuck you. So there are two scenes in this film that I like. I mean, there are some jokes throughout the film that I enjoyed, but there are two scenes I really liked. One, the Eternal that builds things, you know, for humanity to evolve. He has this scene where he's standing in the aftermath of Hiroshima. I don't remember if it was Hiroshima or Nagasaki. But he stands in the aftermath of it, and he's like ashamed of himself because he allowed the humans to do so. You know, he wanted them to evolve and advance technology, when instead they used it to kill people. And you know, he was heartbroken by it. And it's a really powerful scene, really strong, really heartfelt and emotional and heavy. That and the other scene I really liked was Barry Keoghan's character Druig. He has the ability to like control people's minds and stuff and like make them do whatever. So when he realizes that all they do is go to each new civilization and wait for them to kill off other new civilizations so they can go to newer civilizations, he decides, fuck you guys, I'm going to take all these people and run away. I don't remember if they were the Mayans or the Aztecs or whatever, but they did. And I thought that was a really cool scene. Besides that, it's just really boring. I don't remember the score much. The costume design was kind of cool, I guess, but it's really boring. It looks fine. The special effects weren't crazy. It was just a really boring, dull, lifeless film that made me go, "Wow, that sucked." I guess that's what. At first, I was like, "That's not as bad," because the second half of the film is definitely much better than the first half of the film. I can give it that, but it's really stupid. I didn't like this film. I'll probably never watch it again in my life. Maybe once. I don't know. I'm giving Eternals a D plus. It's. I don't want to talk about this movie ever again. What I do want to talk about, though, is my favorite film of 2021, The French Dispatch, directed by Wes Anderson. It's a story about like this newspaper called The French Dispatch, where was it Kansas, France, or something? Where it was, where it's it's a newspaper article, or it's a newspaper company. They tell stories, and so the film is these multiple stories being told about these big news stories. Really, it starts out with Owen Wilson, explaining the city that they're in. Like, wow, I love Owen Wilson. He's cool. And Wes Anderson. This is my first live action Wes Anderson film I've watched. I've seen both of his stop motion films, Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs, and I think they're fucking fantastic. And this film, holy shit, I had a stupid grin on my face the whole time. I absolutely fucking loved The French Dispatch. It was funny. It was beautifully filmed. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. The score, my favorite score of the year, I think. Alexander Desplat is fucking incredible. I love him as a composer. And it's really funny, really enjoyable. I like the stories that they told. I didn't like the second main story with Timothy Chalamet's character about like students revolting or something. I don't remember. At like a college or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't invested in it I wasn't as invested in it as I was with the other stories. One about some guy trying to buy a painting from a prisoner and have him make more paintings so they can sell around the world. And the third story about this guy trying to go to this police place and have this nice cooked meal, but then he gets caught up in this story where the police chief's son gets kidnapped, so he has to rescue him back. Overall, The French Dispatch it was fucking so damn enjoyable. I could watch it over and over and over again. It was funny as hell. It looked great. The score was fantastic. The acting is great all around. It's just that second story I wasn't so interested in. I'm going to give The French Dispatch an A. Fuck it. No, A. I can't give it an A plus because it's my favorite film of the year. It's so fucking enjoyable. I fucking loved it. It was great. Then next, I'm really fucking serious about this. Spider-Man No Way Home. This review will have spoilers in it. If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, do not continue to watch this review because I will be spoiling the hell out of this movie. Okay, let's continue. Spider-Man No Way Home takes place after Endgame, takes place after Far From Home, where Mysterio reveals Peter Parker's identity, or Spider-Man's identity, that he's Superman. So, the world knows, and they hate him because he killed Mysterio. And J. Jonah Jameson's there, and that was funny as hell. Played by J.K. Simmons. But, Spider-Man can't get into college because he's, Peter Parker, and Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And his friends can't get into college because they know Spider-Man. So he goes to Doctor Strange and says, hey, can you make a spell so that the world forgets that I'm, Spider-Man? But he keeps having Doctor Strange change the spell. Oh, this movie's directed by John Watts, by the way. I like to say who directed the film every time. Just want to make sure it's John Watts. Yep. And I'm going to say that this is the best Spider-Man movie out of the Home trilogy in the MCU. It's the most stylistic, even when it's just people talking and stuff. There's really nice camera angles and really nice camera movements. They do a fucking vertigo effect. Okay, that was fucking. I was like, whoa, did that happen in an MCU film? Really? I was excited about it because it's Peter using his spider sense. So, anyways, Doctor Strange can make people forget that I'm Spider-Man. Then he keeps having to change the spell. Like, these people can't, they need to know that I'm Spider-Man, so or else they'll forget all the memories we ever had. So Doctor Strange's like, wait, you didn't even call MIT? Fuck you, Peter. I'm gonna, you can't use this spell. You botched it up. But it turns out that while the spell happened, a bunch of villains from other universes came into this universe. The ones we see in the beginning is Dr. Octopus from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, and Green Goblin from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man. So Peter's freaked out. Doctor Strange's like, yo, capture all these people, and we're going to send them back to their world. So after a fight with Dr. Octopus, he wins using his nanotechnology. And Dr. Octopus is like, wait, you're not my Peter Parker. He's saying, where's my sun machine, Because he thinks that Spider-Man is his Peter Parker. So they're trapped, and then Spider-Man decides, hey, MJ, Ned, come help me, because you guys do such a good job helping me that I'm going to make you guys help me. This is a small issue I had with the film, was that although these characters are important to the overall plot of the film, I don't like how super involved they are. Like, why is he going to have them in the film with him for so long? As in, hey, help me. Even though, what the fuck? They're just like searching the internet for, hey, there's stuff happening. They're not like using satellites or anything or whatever. I need MJ and Ned to help me. It was stupid, even though like I really like the chemistry they have. But they end up fighting, or Spider-Man ends up fighting Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he teams up with Sandman to help take him down, and then he traps Sandman because, hey, you're not from this universe. I have to trap all these people from these universes. And he ends up fighting Dr. Octopus. Doctor Strange finds a lizard at first from The Amazing Spider-Man, and then Aunt May finds Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, who is fucking phenomenal in this movie. He did a great job. Willem Dafoe's range is fucking amazing. I don't get how the guy can do it. So instead of returning them back to the universe, Spider-Man decides to fight Doctor Strange for the box that has the spell in it that will send them back to their universes. He decides to cure them of what's wrong with them, because he realizes that they're going to die if they go back to their universe, because they all die fighting Spider-Man. They're Spider-Man. So when they're on the verge of it, Green Goblin decides he's going to go all psycho evil and, turn against everyone. Electro is like, yo, I love this new energy in this place. Fuck you guys. Sandman's like, fuck you guys. I just want to go back and see my daughter. Which is funny because Sandman didn't die fighting Spider-Man. So he shouldn't have had an issue going back. Whatever. And Dr. Octopus, he's cured. He wants to help them, but he loses this battle. And through brutal fighting with Spider-Man and Green Goblin and a bunch of explosions and Lizard being an asshole and stuff, Aunt May ends up getting killed. And Peter's sad. And I like the music in the scene. I love Michael Giacchino as a composer. Happy, he gets arrested, I think. And so Peter's all like, he's depressed, he's sad. And then, all right, now here is the biggest part of the movie right now. I swear to God, spoilers, even though it's been a month since this movie's been out already. So, I'm warning you. All right, I had to let my camera charge for a little bit, but I'm back now. This is when I will talk about the biggest spoilers in Spider-Man No Way Home. So, you have been warned. So, we're at the point where Peter is at his lowest point. His Aunt May is dead. Happy is getting arrested. All the villains are spread out and they want to kill him. So, Ned and MJ are by themselves. And Ned's all like, man, I wish we could just see Peter. So earlier, Spider-Man defeated Doctor Strange in the mirror dimension by using geometry and math and stuff to web up Doctor Strange and steal the box. And also, he took his sling ring. He gave it to Ned. So Ned And so while he says he wishes he can see Peter, the the sling ring is activating a portal. So Ned uses it again, and that's when me and the entire theater went, "Oh shit! He's gonna bring in another Spider-Man." So he opens a portal, and you see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in that beautiful The Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. So he comes through the portal, and they're like, "You're not Spider-Man." He's like, "I am Spider-Man," which leads to a lot of hilarious jokes. So then he says, "Well, come on, we gotta bring in my Peter Parker." So while doing it again, we get Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man on the big screen again. The entire theater was so fucking loud. I was so fucking happy to see Tobey Maguire Spider. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man was my fucking childhood. It was a huge part of my childhood. I loved watching Spider-Man on VHS and DVD over and over and over again. It is one of my favorite superhero movies. It's one of my favorite movies in general, Spider-Man. I fucking love Spider-Man. It's one of my biggest inspirations. It's a fucking great story. It's still such a fun watch today. Hell, I might even watch it after this. It's that fucking good. I fucking love Spider-Man. And Tobey Maguire, to see him back, it was fucking amazing. After all the rumors that it wouldn't be him and that it wouldn't be Andrew Garfield, but then we'd see Otto Octavius and Green Goblin and all the other villains in the trailers, it was obvious they were going to be there. But to see how they were going to be brought back was fucking awesome. And so they reunite with Peter and go, "Hey, we let's do it. Don't go down this dark path." So they all team together, and they all fight all the villains together, and they cure them of whatever's wrong with them. And they cure them all, but Doctor Strange comes back, and because Green Goblin's an asshole and he blew up the box with a spell, Doctor Strange is still trying to contain the spell, because although the villains were brought back and the heroes were brought too, it's trying to open a portal to all the other dimensions where everyone knows Spider-Man and Peter Parker in those dimensions, those universes. So he can't stop it, but somehow Peter goes, "Hey, what if you just make everyone forget that I'm Peter Parker?" Somehow that stops the spell. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that stopped that first spell and how that fixes everything. But it does. So he tells MJ and Ned, "Hey, you're gonna forget me, so I'm gonna go, find you after. I'm tell you everything that's ever happened." But then he realizes that it's hurt them. So he tries to tell MJ that, "Hey, it's me. We have all this time we spent together." But he sees that she has a scar, and it's kind of a stupid small scar. I expected something a lot bigger and harsher, but I've hurt them, so I'm gonna leave them be. They live their lives. I'm gonna live my own life, and that right there made this the best Spider-Man movie in this MCU trilogy. The stakes are higher. Death happens. Peter is at his lowest point, and it's the best filmed. The score wasn't super memorable. I still remember a lot of the score pieces from Homecoming, but there were some great pieces, and of course the original Homecoming theme, the Spider-Man theme for the MCU, is great. It's reintroduced here. You hear some of the Danny Elfman score from the Raimi trilogy, and you hear some of the music from the Mark Webb 2 movies. And Spider-Man lives on his own, goes to college, or he's gonna go to college hopefully, and he's gonna be Spider-Man. He has to rebuild his life, and I thought this was a great movie. It's one of the better MCU films, I believe. It was really fun. I love the action. I love how drastically different it is. It's like John Watts understood the criticisms of how boring the other films looked, not in terms of the Spider-Man action, but in terms of regular human interaction, those scenes, because it looks so much better, and it's the most stylistic of the Spider-Man trilogy so far, and it's I just had a blast with this movie. Andrew Garfield was such a treat to see as Spider-Man. He's so charismatic. He's so fun and enjoyable. It was fucking awesome to see Toby again. But Tom Holland, he did a great job as Peter Parker and Spider-Man in this movie. I think he did a really good job. It's the best he's been in all of these movies. And he really shows it. So that's kind of all I have to say about this movie. It was really fucking enjoyable. I loved it. It was everything I wanted and everything I didn't know I wanted. I loved it. I'm going to give Spider-Man No Way Home an A-. All right. Now, let's talk about a movie that I'm pretty sure no one's ever heard of. But my uncle watched it and he told me about it. On Christmas Eve, we went over to my uncle's house and he said, hey, have you guys seen this movie called Old Henry? Watch it on Prime. So me and my dad went home a couple days later and watched it on Prime. It is directed by Patsy Pansaroli. Patsy Pansaroli. It's about a man who lives by himself on a farm with his son. And they notice that there's a horse by itself and there's some blood on it. So Henry then travels to find who it belongs to. He sees this man bloodied up. He takes him back to the house. And he realizes that this man has a satchel or a bag with a lot of money and a gun in it. The man wakes up, tries to attack the son. The son's like an old teenager, like he's like 17, 18, 16. And Henry comes back. He's pissed off at the boy because they're at odds. He wants to go live out his life and see the world. Henry just wants to be isolated and live alone. And he realizes that he's not an old man. This man is being hunted down by these other people, these other bank robbers. And he has to figure out whether or not he's telling the truth, if he's setting them up, or how much trouble he's gonna bring. And it's a slow movie. Fuck. I dropped my phone. It's a slow movie. It's not bad at all. I really liked this movie. It was really cool action. It's an old western. It's not an old western. It is a western, but I really enjoyed it. It had cool action in it. It looks great. I thought the music was kind of cool at points. It's just that it's a little slow. It kind of has to be. I thought the beginning was very slow though. When we get introduced to Henry and all these other characters, it just at first just seemed like a lot of stock footage for setting up where the characters are going to be. But overall, I did enjoy it. There's not so much to say on it. There are some cool twists throughout the movie that I saw coming, but it's not like, oh, that's so obvious. Like, oh, that's a neat little thing I saw. It's some good writing in there. There are some cool twists in here, like I said, and I recommend checking it out. You can watch it on Prime. You can rent it for a couple $1 or so. It's one of the more unique films I've seen this year. It's not mind-blowing. It's just it's a nice watch. It's nice watch. The acting's good in it. That's all I can really say about it. I'm gonna give Old Henry B. That's really it. All I can say. It's a good movie. Now we're gonna move on to a film that I did not expect it to turn out this way. Encanto. Let's look up the directors of it. I know the directors are the people behind Zootopia and Tangled, I believe. So it's two directors. It is Byron Howard and Jared Bush. Now, this film has a lot of recognition to it too because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda who wrote the songs for the film. This is a Disney film, so musical. It's about this family who lives at this house in Colombia, and each of them get like a magic gift at a certain age, and they open a door and it reveals a room to them that encapsulates their gift that they have. So we follow our main character Maribel. I think her name is Maribel. It's been a while since I've seen it. A couple weeks at least, but it's not like it's forgettable. Mirabel. Her name is Mirabel. It's not that it's forgettable. It's just that it's just been a while since I've seen it. But I did enjoy it. At first, I didn't think I was gonna like it. My parents just had it on with my siblings. I was like, I'll watch it. I liked it. Doesn't mean I didn't like certain parts. So we'll get to that. Mirabel doesn't have a gift. Her door closed on her when she was going to open it. So she's kind of shunned by the rest of her family. Not the rest of her family, but more so her grandma, the abuela, because she doesn't have a gift like the rest of them. But one night she sees a vision of the house breaking, the casita. The house is breaking, and the the candle that they have, which is important later on, or it's important throughout the film. It kind of signifies like the life of the house and everyone's magic. It's going out, but it's just a vision, and everyone kind of, her grandma is like, "The fuck, what are you doing?" So she has to go on this journey, and based on the trailers, I thought it'd be more of like a journey because it seemed that the house broke and that she has to go on this journey to figure out what happened to the magic. But it's more so it's a smaller journey. It's a more personal journey that she has to figure out why she saw that vision, what's happening to the magic, and how can they avoid that from happening. And I'll say this: pacing is really important in film, especially in musicals, because you stop the movie to sing a song, and the song has to do something for the overall plot, I believe. Has to be a character's expression. It could be the introduction of a character expressing what happened to them, why they're there in that situation, what they want to do. And a lot of the songs in here, they do explain stuff, but it's either they're not catchy to me or they're catchy to everyone else. And I just wasn't interested in most of them. There's the pressure song with the Luisa character. She's this big, strong girl who, she can lift a bunch of things and she can break things and she's like indestructible. But her powers are kind of dimming away after a little bit because she feels so much pressure on her, which it is a good thing to be able to express that. The pressure of family and not disappointing anyone. But it's just that it happens all of a sudden. You don't feel this pressure building up from beforehand. It's just that it just happens all of a sudden. So I didn't find it believable. I didn't find the song to be powerful. It could have been if the situation was presented in a much more clear sense and there was build up to it, but there wasn't. It just happened all of a sudden and I didn't believe it. And I don't even like the song. I'm not saying there's like, I'm not trying to say I think the songs are bad. I just personally don't like them. And the one that everyone's so up in arms about is We Don't Talk About Bruno. Bruno is one of the characters in the film who left the house because of certain reasons. He was able to see visions into the future, and he kind of, told everyone bad visions, and they all kind of shunned him for it. So he left. That's a part of it, at least. I don't want to get too much into it. Let's see. There's a song that Mirabel sings in near the beginning of the film before the first act goes into the second act that I really liked. I don't really remember it, but I just remember liking it. There's a song in there called Dos Oruguitas. That's my favorite scene in the film. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I won't say it, but it's a flashback scene that I found to be really powerful. I want to get back to pacing though, because I felt that when the third act happened, that felt more so like the second act. It felt more so like there was going to be more happening later on, but it didn't. It was the third act, and then the third act concluded, and then the film was over. I wanted more. I felt like there could have been more. And it's just, the film just went on for a long time. It felt the beginning was slow. The second act was really slow. And the third act just happened. And that kind of bogs the film down for me a little. And I do sound negative about this movie, but I don't think it's bad. I liked it. It's just that there's certain things I didn't like about it. More so the pacing, the storytelling at certain parts, characters, the way characters express themselves. Because all these characters are unique, and I like all these. I like the characters. It's just that the theme of family pressure from your elders and stuff, as good of a message and idea that is, it didn't seem to be expressed in a as good as it could have been. It just happened to be brought up. You feel it with Mirabel, but not with the other characters as much as it could have been. So I I like the movie. I'm not in love with it, but I really like certain aspects of it, and I'm pretty sure this is a beating a dead horse. The film looks fucking phenomenal. Disney is just they knock it out of the park with how these films look. Not for to me, not so much with Luca and Turning Red. I know those are Pixar films, but they're gonna have extremely different art styles than what they usually do. But they look good in their own rights so far. But this movie looks fucking beautiful. The colors are so vibrant. There's so much detail. And it's a gripe I have with certain animated films where oh, look at all the hair particles you can see on them. Sometimes it's not impressive, but with this film it is. The way it flows and how it reacts to certain things, wind, them running, how curly it looks, and how defined and definitive and detailed it looks. It looks fucking great. But that's really all I'm gonna say about Encanto. It's an enjoyable film. I definitely want to watch it again. Because maybe I might like it more the second time. But I think it's a great family film. I'm not trying to say that as to demean the film. I'm saying that it's good for an entire family to sit down and watch it. I'm pretty sure, and a lot of people like it so far. I liked it. I didn't think I was gonna like it based on trailers promotion, but overall, I do like it. I'm going to give Encanto a B. And now we're gonna talk about the last film that I've seen for 2021, even though I saw it this year, but I'm not sure what other films I'm gonna see for 2021. It's just nice to cap it off. Nightmare Alley, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Now I've seen Pan's Labyrinth, and that's pretty much it. But I know this is a talented director and a great storyteller. This is a remake of a film, Nightmare Alley, from I think the 50s or the 30s. It's a remake of a really older film, but it's so damn unique. I think the film looks great. I love the color palette. It's like it's like a post World War II story, and it's about Bradley Cooper's character. I don't remember any of the characters' names really, but Bradley Cooper's character, he exits the train. He has this weird, mysterious past of a body burning in a house. You don't know who it is at first, but he leaves and he wants to join this circus to learn acts of magic, more so like tarot readings and card stuffs, and identifying what's in someone's bag based off of verbal cues, because he's interested in lying to people like that, and money, searches make money and stuff. But the way the film is told, there's two halves to the film. There's the first half, which is one story, and the second half, which is a completely different story but relies on the first story. And I went to see this with my friend Sebastian, like my best friend from high school. And we both kind of thought the same thing. The second story wasn't as interesting as the first story, and it felt like a completely different movie. And we both liked the first half a lot better. Although the second story does have its merits, it's just really slow and not as interesting as the first half. And it picks up the storyline where Bradley Cooper's character he's talking to a dead lady. He's talking to a dead lady to trick this guy to keep giving him more money. and it's a lot of rambling back and forth. Hey, are you gonna show me my dead wife? What's my dead wife gonna tell me? Yada yada. And I understand what the second half of the story is to do. It's to show the progression and the downward spiral about this character. You know, how far he's gone down, how twisted he's become, how he's lying and manipulating people. You know, that he's a bad guy. And, you know, he wants to put on a good show for people, but he's taking it way too far. And he's not listening to what he was told before in the first story about how this magic can hurt people, how you don't want to do it, you don't want to put on a spook show, as they call it. I don't want to get too much into more details about the story. I will talk about the filmmaking aspect. I thought the score was great. I don't know who did the score. Let me look it up real quick. I thought the film, before I get to that, I thought the film looked great. I love the color palette, like I said before. Guillermo del Toro knows how to move the camera around. The composer. Shit, I can't find it. It's kind of bullshit. Oh, Nathan Johnson. I don't know what he's done before, but he did a great job. I want to see a best score nomination from this film. Like usually with a lot of movies, I don't remember it, but I just remember how effective it was during the scenes. Even my friend told me, yeah, I thought the score was really great. I want to see a best score nomination from it. I like the costume design a lot. It's a technically very well made film. It's just that the storytelling is a little off, more so in the second half, that made me to think it's. I mean, and it's a really long movie. It's a 2.5 hour film, I believe, and you really feel it with that second half, especially with how not interesting it is, because of that other storyline being brought up. Although it is integral to that character's arc, it's just that it's not as interesting and it's just a tad too slow. But there are aspects of the film that overshadow that to an extent. It looks great, the score is great, the acting's good all around. Everyone does a great performance. But it's just that second half is just a tad too long and just a tad too uninteresting, even though it is integral to the character's arc. But I don't regret buying a ticket. It's just, it was such a unique film. It was made very well. And I said this with I say this about certain films. I can't imagine another director helming the film, like Ridley Scott for Alien, Steven Spielberg for Jurassic Park, Robert Zemeckis for Back to the Future. I can't imagine another director helming that film and it being better. So like I can't imagine another director aside from Guillermo to do this film, because it was made in such a unique way, and it is a strange story, but overall I did enjoy it. I did like Nightmare Alley. I do want to watch it again, but that second half is it's just a tad too much. I'm going to give Nightmare Alley a B minus. My friend, he did enjoy it as well. We basically had the same thoughts. It's a really good, interesting first half. The second half just makes the film feel really long, even though it is integral to the character's arc. And the ending is a little surprising. There are certain things we both wanted to see, because it is certain things they do say, especially in the first half, setting this character up. We did want to see certain payoffs, but we didn't. So it's whatever. But overall, it's a unique film. I'm glad I gave it money. It just sucks that it's probably not going to make its money back. But what are you going to do? You know, B minus. And I believe that is it for the Slice Podcast episode 16. Except, actually, I'm going to talk about one thing. This game right here, Halo Infinite, it is fun as hell. Holy shit. Before the break, Halo Infinite launched its multiplayer online for free to play. You don't need an Xbox Live Gold account. You can just play. So I've been playing the multiplayer, and it's fun as hell. I just hate the progression in it. They did tweak it a little, but it sucks because certain colors are unlocked, as in certain armor pieces are color coded to specific things depending on what skin you have set. It's not like the Reach customization in terms of color. You don't get to choose your primary and secondary. You only choose one specific coating. And the colors look nice sometimes, but then they're making you pay for colors. They're making you pay for specific armor sets. Or it's either you pay the battle passes or you progress. And it takes a really long ass time. Or you just can't get it all unless you pay. Which you should have expected with it being free to play. But I don't know. I think I'm like close to 30 or something, and I probably have a shoulder. I have visors, yeah, but I don't have a new helmet. I just have shoulders, thanks to the Christmas event. I haven't been playing much recently. I'm gonna try and figure out some Wi-Fi issues I have here, but as fun as the multiplayer is, the progression and getting new armor is very frustrating. Even though it's fun as hell, I love how smooth it feels. It feels amazing. I love playing the Halo Infinite multiplayer, but the campaign is great. I love it so far. I'm at the part where you beat this chief brute tank called Bassin or something. He's like a stupid brute, and it picks up like a year after Halo 5, and Halo 5 is like the worst Halo campaign, not just to me but to most people, and it not that it retcons it, but it ignores a lot of stuff going on. Like, where the hell is Fireteam Osiris? Where's the Arbiter? That's kind of annoying. I don't know where the Arbiter's at. Where's Lasky? Is he alive? Is he dead? It's just that it picks up a year after, and you're in a ship fighting aliens and stuff, and then you get to the Zeta Halo ring that Cortana's controlling, and the Banished want to get there and set it off because they're the Banished. And I'm having a blast with it. I think it's really fun, challenging at points. I'm playing on a legendary, but it's really fun. I really like it so far. I can't wait to finish it. And that, I think, concludes the Slice Podcast, episode 16. It felt good to get back in to do this. I just haven't made videos in a while. I wanted to make a Christmas special before I left, and then I had an idea about it for just a really short Christmas special, but I decided against it because I was like, no, I'm just going to hang out with my family, I wanted to make a New Year's special. I just couldn't think of any idea. I want to make a skit or two later on down the line, but as of now, I want to focus more on writing. I'm working on some screenplays, feature-length screenplays for stories that I've written up in this notepad. A coworker gave me this small notepad, and I've been writing. I wrote 2 outlines for 2 films in this, and I think they're really special and really unique, and they have really powerful messages. And I'm working on one of them to turn to a screenplay as of now, while I'm writing more outlines for other films. They're not my superhero ideas, but I think there's something that can they're special, they're unique, they're more indie-esque style films, or they could be Fox Searchlight if I can get a hold with them, because I know they produce different films. Like, they did Nightmare Alley, and they did The French Dispatch and Jojo Rabbit, which I'm looking at right now. And they're just special ideas that I have, and I really think that they can be powerful and effective. And if one of these ends up being my first film I direct, I'll be really fucking happy with it. But as of now, that wraps it up for this episode of the podcast. Tell me what you thought about whatever thoughts that I had about anything. My adventures, the movies I saw. What do you think about the Raiders? You think they're gonna make the Super Bowl? I want to do another podcast soon. I probably have some more stuff going on in my life. But anyways, that is it. Tell me what you thought about everything. Share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. I'll be back with more enjoyable content soon, hopefully. And bye.